You know what makes a great gift? Galaxy bookmarks. And today I'm going to teach you how to make Galaxy bookmarks with watercolor. This is an easy, fun painting exercise, and it's great for kids too. So let's get started.
Okay, so today we are going to make Galaxy bookmarks, and they're pretty fun. They can be a little messy, but anyone can do this if you have a set of paints to use. So this obviously is the finished product. They're pretty fun. You can use really vibrant colors to achieve your bookmark of choice, and even some muted colors like this palette is really fun. When I start doing this, I'm actually using this XL watercolor paper by Canson. It's an inexpensive paper that I buy at my local hobby store, and I chose to use this just because it's a little bit sturdier. You're going to want something stiff for your bookmarks if you don't have a laminator. So a couple weeks ago, I did a demo of this project, and so I have all of these already cut out and taped off. So when I start, I take a page of paper like this, and I use washi tape like this to tape off the edges so I can have a nice clean edge, which also enables you to cut along the bookmark. If you don't want to have white edges, you can have a nice straight edge to cut with a ruler and an X-Acto knife. But to get started, I'm going to tape a couple of these down to my desk here. And I found that I really like this washi tape because it does a nice job of coming up, and it comes in a variety of different widths. And if you can hear meowing, that is my cat Harlow. This is a really fun project for kids and adults alike. It doesn't take too long to do either. It's probably more prep time and putting down the tape than anything. Let's see, I'm going to bring this a little bit closer so we can really see what's going on here. So I have this large brush here, and I use this often for acrylic painting, but I also use it occasionally for watercolor painting. It's by Trekell, and I'm just going to wet down my bookmark here. We're going to do a wet and wet technique. And I make sure that it's good and wet, and I'm going to mix up some colors. I kind of did this a little backwards. And I've got this nice, it's a ultramarine blue, and I'm just going to put some of this down into this wet water. And it's just cool to see how this paint spreads. For those of you who are curious about the paint, I actually am using Core watercolor paints right now. And really you don't have to do too much here. It's just lay down some paint and kind of let it mix together. I kind of like to do it diagonally. And the more pigment you can kind of get loaded in there, the better it looks. kind of just keep adding it. This will probably spread to my desk here. You can even kind of do swirly stuff. What's nice about this big brush is you can cover quite a bit. So I'm going to let that just do its thing. I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to wet down my bookmark. And really, you may not be able to see it, but it's kind of buckling here on this table, so it's good to tape it down. That really helps keep it from moving around too much on you. Now for this next bookmark, I'm going to use a color. This is a Daniel Smith color, and it is called Sodalite, and it just has some beautiful granulation. Just watch it spread. Isn't it awesome? I'm about out of this in my tube. I need to get more of it. It's fast become one of my favorite pigments. I'm also using this. This is also a Daniel Smith color, so I guess I'm not using all core today. This is a quinacridone coral, and it's really pretty. I might use a little bit of this orange here. The fun part is you can mix complementary colors. You can mix your favorite colors. This is transparent orange, pyrrole orange. It is a core color, and it really blooms really nicely. See that? And you just never quite know where something's gonna go. It's just kind of fun to experiment. I would warn against it having too much water, as I've got quite a bit of water here. So I'm gonna rinse out my brush. Maybe go back in with more pigment and not adding any water. Okay, actually I'm going to add a little more pigment here. I'm going to let these dry, and I will come back and we'll do the second stage of our tutorial. Okay, so these have dried. They actually have gone back to flattened bookmarks as opposed to warped paper. So now that they're dry, we can go to the next stage. Just pull up our tape. So in step 2, we are going to be using gouache paint. This is Winsor & Newton gouache paint, and I have watered it down and put it in an old pill bottle to kind of keep it fresh. I just used it on a demo I did recently. And we're also going to use a toothbrush. This was a toothbrush I bought just specifically for watercolor. It looks pretty gross, but I'm going to be dipping this toothbrush in here and with my finger flicking white paint on our bookmarks. That way it can have that kind of speckled look that we're looking for, that really makes it look like a galaxy. So, and it's important, one thing to note is I dip this in here, white paint, and then I hold it back generally. So I'm going to hold it over a piece of a napkin or something because it will drip. And you probably don't want big blobs of white on your bookmark, so I do it from here and then I flick from the front of the toothbrush this way, kind of just spray it around. And I have made a box specifically for this task so it is not messy in your area. I've sprayed too many other items not meaning to, so live and learn. So this kind of gives you an idea of what this box looks like, I think. I've cut out this area so you can kind of see what's happening in here, but mostly it's going to be covered, so I'm not going to get paint everywhere. So you can kind of see now, I've watered this down a little bit. You may want more opaque white, which you can use less water. So I've got my brush wet, and now just kind of move back and forth, spraying my bookmark and trying not to spray the camera. And I kind of tap so I don't get a big blob everywhere. And then I spray this guy. Now I did get a blob down here, which you can easily, with a napkin or a paper towel, kind of blot. So if you want to have a more vibrant white, as you can see it's kind of speckled, but we can have a more vibrant white a couple of ways. You can either use a gel pen or you can use some gouache, and you can dot it on, or if you really want to add a little flair, you can do a little cross or plus sign. For twinkling stars. You can also dip the end of your paintbrush in there and just dot it around. We'll do a little bit over here. That might be a bigger blob, but that's okay. And then when I'm done, I just kind of wipe off the end of my brush. Might do a little twinkling star here. And the smaller your brush, the smaller your little stars will be. And of course, my favorite part is taking off the tape. And there you have a galaxy bookmark. You can laminate your bookmarks, or you can write on the back of your bookmarks. This year I wrote goals on the back of mine, but all you need is a little hole punch. And put a little ribbon through it, and you're good to go. 2 bookmarks. They make great gifts. You can use them as goal lists, laminate them, and make them last forever. So thanks for tuning in. Let me know if you like this video.
Thanks for tuning in today. I appreciate you being here, and stay tuned for more videos. If you want to support me on Patreon, I'll leave that link below. If you have questions, leave them in the comments, and thanks for tuning in. Until next time.